Queen Lysara of the Valar Dominion had seen countless humans through diplomatic visits, yet none had impressed her. They were fragile, unpredictable, and often far too emotional for her disciplined court. So when she agreed to a political marriage with one, she expected little, perhaps politeness, maybe charm, but certainly no display of strength. The human Marcus Hale stood quietly beside her during the wedding ceremony. He spoke only when necessary, and even then, his words were measured, calm, almost unnervingly precise. To Lysara, this silence was ordinary human timidity or arrogance. She hadn't decided which. Around them, the Valar court whispered about the human groom. "He is simple," a noble remarked. "A pet, nothing more." Lysara didn't disagree, at least not yet. Middle, the calm before the storm. In the weeks following the wedding, Marcus adapted to life in the Valar palace without fanfare. He learned the customs, observed the hierarchy, and never overstepped. Lysara, meanwhile, maintained her distance. She had married him for alliance, not companionship, and so far, he had been a quiet, unremarkable presence. Yet, beneath his silence, Lysara began to notice subtle details. The way he observed the palace guards, the precision with which he handled even the simplest task, the unshakable calm in his demeanor. Unlike other humans she had known, Marcus didn't fumble, panic, or react emotionally. Then the warnings arrived. Scouts reported a rebellion in the northern provinces, an armed uprising led by rogue Valar generals who sought to seize power while the queen's attention was on the new human consort. Panic rippled through the court. The nobles argued, and the military strategists scrambled, but Lysara felt an unusual chill of doubt. Marcus approached her quietly. "Your Majesty, may I speak?" he asked. "Of course," Lysara replied, curiosity piqued despite herself. He studied the strategic maps with her, pointing out weak points in the palace's defenses and predicting enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. "If we deploy the sentinels to the eastern gate and use the gravity turrets along the ridge, we can channel their forces into a narrow corridor," he said. "Then, the rebellion will have nowhere to maneuver, and their numbers won't matter." The council erupted in skepticism. "A human cannot comprehend Valar warfare," a general shouted. Lysara, however, didn't interrupt. Something in Marcus's tone, the confidence, the precision, struck her. The battle begins. Within days, the rebels attacked. The palace trembled under bombardment as alarms rang and sentries rushed to their stations. Marcus, silent and composed, took command alongside the queen, his eyes scanning the battlefield. As predicted, he had anticipated the rebels' path. He directed the sentinels with crisp commands, repositioned the energy turrets, and orchestrated a defense so flawless that even seasoned Valar officers were in awe. Then, a contingent of the enemy elite breached the inner courtyard. Marcus grabbed a ceremonial Valar blade, a weapon renowned for its lethality and delicacy, and stepped forward. Lysara's eyes widened. He moved with an elegance and precision that seemed impossible for a human. Each swing of the blade deflected lethal strikes, each step predicted the enemy's movements, and each decision was flawless. Guards who had doubted him now fell in line, inspired by his skill. The rebels fell back, overwhelmed by Marcus's combination of strategy and combat prowess. By the time the sun set, the palace stood intact, and the would-be coup was crushed. The human speaks without words. After the battle, Lysara approached Marcus in the quiet of the courtyard. The human was calm, sheathed sword resting lightly against his shoulder, eyes scanning the horizon as if expecting another attack. "Marcus, how?" she asked, voice barely above a whisper. You've done what no human or Valar could have." He turned to her and smiled faintly. I observed, I learned, and I acted. Humans survive by adapting. We have weaknesses, yes, but we also have persistence, ingenuity, and resolve. That is how we endure. Lasara's skepticism melted away. She saw, in that quiet human, qualities that few in the galaxy possessed: courage under pressure, intellect in the face of chaos, and an unshakable composure that commanded respect without a single boast. "You've changed my perception," she admitted. "I married a human thinking he was simple. I was wrong. And I married a queen who assumed I was weak," Marcus said, voice calm but firm. "I am neither as weak nor as silent as you believed." The aftermath. The following weeks brought peace to the court, but the story of Marcus's heroism spread throughout the Valar Dominion. Nobles who had doubted him now whispered in awe. Even Lasara's advisors began to seek his counsel on matters of strategy and diplomacy. Yet, Marcus remained humble. He never sought recognition, never boasted of his victories. He treated Lasara with respect, not as a queen to be feared, but as a partner who had trusted him despite the odds. In private, Lasara found herself drawn to him, not because of his skill, but because of his unwavering character. She had married a silent human, but she had gained a man who spoke through action, whose presence inspired courage, and whose heart matched his formidable mind. A moment of revelation. One evening, after the sun set over the floating palace, Lasara stood beside Marcus on the balcony. "Do you realize what you've done?" she asked softly. Marcus looked at her, expression unreadable but gentle. "I only did what was necessary. You and your people needed protection. That is all." Lasara shook her head, a small smile forming. "You've done more than protect us. You've proven that humans are not as fragile as the galaxy believes. You've shown what true strength is." He glanced at the ceremonial sword, now resting at his side. "Strength is not just physical. It is the will to act, to protect, to endure. That is how I speak." Lasara understood then that the human she had married was extraordinary. His silence had hidden a power greater than any legend she had ever known, the power of determination, courage, and humanity. Ending humanity revealed. In the weeks and months that followed, the alliance between humans and Valar strengthened. Marcus's insights shaped military strategy, diplomacy, and the court's understanding of interstellar relations. Lasara, once skeptical of humans, now celebrated their ingenuity and resilience. Together, they ruled with balance, Lasara's wisdom and authority, Marcus's strategic mind and bravery. The palace no longer saw Marcus as a simple human. He became a symbol of hope, resilience, and the unexpected strength that humanity could bring to the galaxy. And for Lasara, the lesson was clear. Sometimes, those who speak the least have the most to say. Sometimes, the quietest person carries the greatest power. And the human she had married had, in every way, spoken volumes without ever uttering a boast. The galaxy watched as their legend grew, a silent human who, with a sword in hand and courage in heart, changed the fate of an empire. And Lasara, the alien queen who had doubted him, learned that humanity's true strength was not in muscle or fame, but in character, will, and unwavering resolve.